ANC and other parties were on the charm offensive over the weekend in an attempt to get prospective voters to register. Party President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed confidence that the ANC will do well in the upcoming elections despite facing problems. ANC spokesperson Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri joins us in the studio for more on that. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having us, Thabo.
I was going to start there, but let me now start here. I'll engage you again on your assessment of the weekend. But this is news just in. Jerusalem has recalled the consultation its ambassador to South Africa following the latest statement from South Africa. Israel Foreign Ministry saying today. What's your reaction? I don't know if you've heard this news as you were coming in.
Yes, I have. Well, we hope that this is some stuff for optimism, that perhaps there will be a reflection on the global solidarity campaign, and particularly the campaign here at home by South Africans of different persuasions, calling for the closure of the Israeli embassy and the recalling of its diplomats. So we're going to be watching that story.
Yeah. What was that? You're dilly-dallying. That's why Israel eventually beat you to it. This is what you're supposed to have done. One, you go to Parliament and your caucus there
we recalled our ambassadors.
Is arguing strongly for the closure of that embassy. This morning we're hearing that, well, Cabinet has made no such decision.
It is not correct, Thabo. Let me put things in perspective. The ANC, and this is a part that where we hope our media colleagues can also bear us out, because when the ANC makes a policy pronouncement, we are not suggesting that the next morning government must jump. The ANC, the government must follow due process, and that includes negotiations at the relevant levels, including multilateral institutions, where these matters are being ventilated. There is never been an expectation on the part of the ANC that when we called for the closure of the Israeli embassy, alongside other progressives in South Africa, the government will wake up the next day and close the embassy. That will be slightly heavy-handed. So there is no going back on that decision, even on the part of government. I am aware that Minister Naledi Pandor is engaged in a number of internal processes to work around this resolution.
Yeah. It seems, though, I mean, this is now Israel sending the very same kind of message that you sent. By saying you, I'm saying the ANC government sent to the Israeli government when you recalled your diplomats in Israel.
They don't have an option but to do so. This is the perspective of the ANC. And we're happy that actually somebody has taken such a decision on the part of our Israeli colleagues. And I say colleagues from the perspective of government to government, state to state. So we acted timelessly. And we can't be faulted on that. Yeah. But this is an ongoing campaign. This is an ongoing effort. It cannot actually even be reversed. But we can't speculate on what Israeli diplomats are going to be briefed about or the line of march that they're going to get. So I think it is going to be important for us to hang ten, follow and watch those developments. In the meantime, the campaign to free the people of Palestine is running full steam ahead here at home, as well as both in the global north, the global south, in the continent, as you've seen.
Let's come back to the campaign of getting voters to register and for people to get behind the ANC. 2.7 people, a large number of those are people who are just going to update their details. Just under 1 million are actually new registering voters. Are you awakening to the possibility that the ANC will no longer enjoy a majority?
Well, firstly, we need to welcome the fact that young people have come out in their numbers. I think the IEC estimated it at about 78% being young people. That's great news for South Africa and for democracy. And the high voter turnout is important for democracy, first and foremost, before it is important for the ANC. As the ANC, we are contesting an election like anybody else. Those young people are diverse, they're not homogeneous. They've got their own hearts set on a future they want to see. And that future may very well be a future that is associated with policies of the African National Congress.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at those numbers, they're far below what you would be able to see previously in first week of registration. I think in the previous, at least national elections, 3.6 million people would have come out.
I think they're significant, though, Thabo, in the sense that, you know, for the couple of years, we've been talking about the idea of apathy, particularly among young people.
Yeah.
So for the fact that young people are coming out in such numbers, it's something to note, but it's something that needs to be cultivated further. And I'm happy that normally, as you would know, there will be a second round of open voter registration.
Yeah.
Secondly, the online voter registration system is still open. A lot of that work is being done by the IEC, and political parties need to assist the IEC to mobilize people, their supporters and ordinary South Africans to utilize that channel. So, you know, I think the outlook is good going forward, considering where we were with the local government elections in 2019.
The critique, maybe not so much from the media, but maybe it would also be coming from the media quarters as well, but also from opposition parties, is that the ANC is, for example, struggling to come up with a strategy to appeal to disenfranchised voters, so much so that you're grasping at straws. One of your campaigns it reads, ANC remains committed to safeguard the well-being of our people through impactful social grants. Using social grants, it's a campaign and get people to vote for the ANC. Some other one which you have apologized for, using a picture of Justice Maya. Yeah.
Let me start off with the first one that you've raised. We have not formally launched our campaign. We've embarked on a series of what we called manifesto review engagements, connecting and accounting to our people for the past 2 to 3 months, and that work is still ongoing. We suspended it for 2 weeks in order to give priority to this program of the IEC. So that work is ongoing. We have not launched our campaign. Secondly, on the matter of the Deputy Chief Justice, that was a slip. We issued an apology, an unreserved apology, and I want to reiterate that unreserved apology to Justice Maya. Firstly, because the ANC has been consistent in its respect for the independence of the judiciary. No intention whatsoever in that slip to suggest that there's conflation or there is an association or political association with the judiciary, both individually in terms of Justice Maya as well as collectively the judicial system. So that's the first thing we do want to clarify. The attempt of that poster, and I want to just talk to the backstory to it. The attempt was really to talk about advances that have been made in the transformation journey in South Africa. Could very well have been a poster about a Sisnolita Fagude, a Wendy Luhabe, a Caster Semenya, and many other people that before 1994 would have had it difficult to access spaces they are in, but remain examples of excellence in our environment. But we have apologized to... Do
you think it could have been a costly slip, so to speak? Because I suppose your detractors are now using it as a way to gauge your level of creative engagement and the things that you're pulling on to salvage your image.
We don't need to use faces of people to salvage our image, and that is why we're saying it's a slip. And I must say also that you're going to be seeing a number of messages that the ANC is going to be punting. We are an incumbent government. We are going to talk about policies of the ANC that have succeeded. And I think the challenge here for South Africans is also, let's have a conversation about transformation and how far have we gone.
Motsiri still with us, of course, reflecting on the weekend of registration and some of the feedback that they've been getting, certainly on the ground as they're getting people to register to vote. One of those issues is the sticky issue of transformation. The question, of course, has been, where's the outrage? The Competition Commission says literally for 6 years, 18 banks have been manipulating the currency in South Africa, plunging the economy of South Africa basically into turmoil, and no consequence, nothing.
Well, I suppose, there's a lot that is going to be happening. We issued a statement, and we were very categoric, and we said a statement was titled, prefer criminal charges against those banks that are involved in the thing. I learned that Standard Chartered has agreed to cooperate with government and against the other banks. So again, let's watch that unfolding. We must applaud the Competition Commission, but we've called for criminal charges to be preferred. That slap, in the wrist of 43 million is nothing in comparison with the damage that was done to our economy over this manipulation of the rand. Yeah.
And what are you then going to be instructing your deployees as the ANC as far as this matter is concerned? I believe the ATM has written to the Treasury. They would like the Minister of Finance to act. They'll tell us a little bit later.
Our deployees already have a line of march, Thabo, through our Economic Transformation Subcommittee of the NEC. This is something that we are going to be pursuing, utilizing the fact that we are the incumbent government.
Yeah, what is the line of march?
Well, the line of march is to make sure that there are criminal charges. It's as simple and straightforward as that. It cannot be left at the level of the decisions and the engagements with the Competition Commission.
Yeah. Have you reflected on what the Harvard study is saying? Because I heard the Minister and the President is saying, well, the ANC will have to decide on the quality of the deployment, whether it was the right fit. Basically, Harvard is saying that part of what is hampering the South African economy is cadre deployment, being one of the issues, and of course the lack of implementation of the reforms.
We are studying the implications of what came out of the Harvard study. We are also looking at various opinions that have been made in that regard, but we are formulating a firm position on it. In the meantime, of course, our position on the cadre deployment policy and how we want to see the cadre deployment being refashioned in such a way that competence, meritocracy, including the professionalization of the public service, given the priority that it deserves. So it really forms part of that big basket of the things that we're looking at the types of people, the caliber of public representatives that we send to office, that we send to Parliament. So for us, it does not say the things that we are not doing as part of the organizational renewal project and as part of ongoing renewal of society.
Yeah. So you're saying the policy will remain. It might be refined, but will remain.
Well, it is the policy of the ANC. It forms part of many policies that we are looking at repurposing and sending a very clear message to our people that the ANC is committed, and you're going to see this with our candidate selection process, very stringent requirements for who gets to go to Parliament and for who gets to go to a provincial legislature, the types of expertise we require, the type of specialist experience that we require, the type of skill sets and attitudes that we require, no criminal records, no one implicated in acts of corruption. All of those things, I think it's about a set of about 9 elements of that criteria. That responds to the Harvard study even before we can issue a sustained statement. We are working on a statement, a comprehensive statement, having studied the report.
Now, speaking of 9 senior managers who were supposed to have taken particular responsibility when it comes to Parliament and the Parliament precinct have now been suspended. But I mean, if you look at the political responsibility, one would say that would have to lie with your deployees in the National Assembly. What is your take on those 9 senior managers who have now been suspended?
Well, the first point to make here, it's a recent development. We ourselves have to be briefed by our parliamentary caucus in the first instance, and where, if required, by the presiding officers of Parliament. But I am aware that that ordinarily becomes the work of the Secretary to Parliament. And Parliament operates in a way that is slightly unique from the executive, in the sense that, there's a very strict demarcation between what is done by the Secretary to Parliament. There's more independence between the work of Secretary to Parliament, and he then brings, in this case it's a he, then briefs presiding officers. But where there has been wrongdoing, they are still going to go through a disciplinary process. Where there is definitely proven wrongdoing, we are encouraged that steps are being taken. And I think we support the perspectives of the union there, Nihau, in urging that the investigations must be hastened. But, we welcome that. I would be remiss if I expand further than that, because it's a recent development. We ourselves have to get a briefing from the Chief Whip, who is the main charge in our parliamentary caucus. But we need to clean Parliament. Parliament must inspire hope among our people. And where there's any sort of malfeasance, it undermines such an important institution in our democracy.
Mahlengi Bhengu-Motsiri, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you very much.